Hello everyone, Richard back here for Panzer Corps. I wanted to review Sevastopol, and I'll let this start running. Um, I hadn't played in a while. I haven't uploaded this, or I haven't played 1942 in a while, partly because I looked at the map, and then I said to myself, this is the map where your units go to die. Let me pause this here. And I didn't know how I wanted to approach it. So I am constantly worried about prestige, and I I didn't know if it was a good idea to front load overstrength on my units and then have to regularly replace them later in the scenario. That just seemed very expensive. The other thing happening in the scenario is I brought all my level bombers because they were ships. In order to not hit the soft cap after bringing the level bombers, I brought all of my infantry, and I didn't overstrengthen anyone except for Oladir, and then I overstrengthened the base infantry because they didn't have trucks, so it was really cheap. And I didn't overstrengthen my tanks, my grenadiers, my mountain units, or my scouting units. And I didn't overstrengthen my rocket artillery, which are very expensive units. And I only overstrengthened towed artillery by 2. And I actually didn't break the soft cap despite having really expensive level bombers. So that's something to note. My plan was to charge as quickly as I could get away with to get into the mess of Sevastopol. And then as my units got worn down, I could give them regular replacements. As it turns out, my assault in the beginning went so well that at no point did I actually have to give a unit regular replacements. And I think I used my auxiliary units very well at absorbing blows. I did take a lot of damage in the end. I am a little nervous what the repair bill will be, but if you watch Idleclease and Deductor's playthrough, the repair bill, like, no matter what happens in the scenario, you're going to spend a lot of prestige. And my prestige was spent in the next scenario, and their prestige was spent in this scenario. So I think I didn't necessarily save prestige on net. I will find out. I can tell you that both Idleclease and Deductor saw a net core loss in core value when they went into this scenario, and I think after they exited the scenario, but I'm not sure about that. So this is not a scenario that's supposed to be played perfectly. And I like it reflects a historical reality. The Germans lost a lot of good units here. This was not a cheap, easy, carefree assault. This was an assault that cost them some very good units, and I feel like the scenario reflects it very well. So you can see my deployment tanks. You can see my deployment tanks in the back. 1 second. So you can see I have tanks in the back. And I did that because they're not that valuable in this scenario. And I figured that the tanks could swing around wide to the right and then hit the southern group here, because I figured that the grind through the north would be very, very slow, so I need to send fast units around, and so that's why I sent all trucked units around. And I think that part of my plan worked really well. Tactically, the execution in the second half was highly questionable. I did a couple of stupid things that probably stemmed from just being really tired, but my first half was pretty good. So that part was pretty good. My Air Force took a beating. That was okay. I figured that It was going to be very, very difficult to avoid that. And we'll see what the price is at Verhazna. Okay, so you can see my setup. I'm loading my artillery and infantry up front. I brought every infantryman I could except for bridge engineers. And I got two experienced pioneers. So my intention was to literally storm all of my infantry forward and try to overwhelm the enemy. I think it went really well, in my opinion. And I didn't even have to use regular replacements. So let's see, what else is happening? I put my range +1 artillery over here to help me reach for far away targets. I brought my 5 range scouting unit. I want to know what's in the south. This assault went really well. There's my scout. I uncovered a few things down here. I'm going to bring both of my big guns to help support the assault. So I've got a lot of artillery that's going to pound the north. And that's to help me overrun the positions as quickly as possible. I also have 4 level bombers because there's the auxiliary level bomber. So I can suppress the enemy. That's a key part of my plan too. I brought the rocket artillery over here because I didn't want ships damaging them. You'll laugh later when you see what happens. But I wanted to keep their power at 10 for as long as I could get away with. And there were some objectives that had infantry in these cities, and rocket artillery would be very helpful for digging them out. I spotted the KV. I did not spot the anti-aircraft. And of course, when I realized, oh no, there's anti-aircraft, I wanted to distract it from hitting Rudel. So I sent my entire Air Force out. Because I figured if I'm going to get hit, at least try to confuse the AI, and hopefully they don't target the same plane. I mean, I'm glad I sent Rudel down there because it froze the KV in place and it allowed me some free movement. I don't know why those 2 planes didn't move. Maybe they had perfect vision and they could see I had every plane covered. And then that worked. So this anti-aircraft attacked a level bomber. That was good. You know, I thought I was making good progress against the anti-aircraft, but later on I discovered there was a lot more, and it was like, wow, there's way too much anti-aircraft. It's really designed. I think they set it up so that if you had a tactical bomber heavy air force, you were going to be punished severely. I took some risks with my level bombers because Deducter buffed their defensive stats. So they're actually more robust in his mod than in the base game. And in exchange, they're very expensive units. So yeah, I brought my mobile air. I didn't think my 88 guns would have a huge role in this map. I mean, they told us that there's going to be very few tanks, and there were very few tanks. And it seemed like I had to move really quickly, and I wasn't sure if my 88 guns would be helpful. I also was scared that close defense of 0 was going to kill them, even though they both had defense heroes, which would help, but I didn't want a really strong infantry coming out and wrecking my 88 guns. So I brought mobile air instead, which needed the experience, and actually he ended up with 3 stars, so I was really happy about that. He did a really good job against the premier fighter that the Soviets had, so I can't complain. So I think turn 1 was pretty successful. By pulling my scout out of the city, they couldn't see him. The infantry tried to move up and attack, but got stopped by my scout. So the counterattack was very weak over here. We can fast forward a bit. Yeah, and already the middle of the map is already under intense pressure on turn 2. And I'm just constantly sending my units ahead. And I made sure to bring a Stug. I didn't know how useful my Stugs would be. I actually squeezed a lot of use out of them by keeping them on the roads and in open spaces. And I found a lot of ways to get some good attacks. And they were valuable in defending my advancing troops. Basically, a lot of the enemy could see the forefront of my army, but they couldn't see the artillery behind it. And that allowed me to get some really nice artillery shots. And that kind of collapsed the middle a little bit faster than you would have expected. So this was a trap, and then I didn't realize there was another fighter. But because the defense is buffed on all of these level bombers actually hold their own really well. I actually damaged that fighter. That was nice. So now that the Air Force has been teased out, it makes it a lot easier for me. Because I don't necessarily have to escort all of my planes anymore. The AI is moving. Let's fast forward a bit. I think on turn 3 I wiped out the Air Force. Yeah, here I go. Yep, I even got a shot in with my mobile anti-air. I'm really, as I use it, I'm a big fan of the anti-air that's mobile. In my ultimate playthrough, I will eventually get 2 of those because I'm going to have to build flak islands to deal with the madness of that playthrough. But already, I feel like in 1942, I have gotten an insane amount of value out of my anti-air. I bought that at Vitebsk, and by the end of Sevastopol, it was 3 stars. So I haven't had a huge issue getting experience on these units. This guy is going to probably be key in 1944 in helping me. So it took all of my fighters, I wiped everybody out, but there's the question of what to do. I mean, there's some strong points, they have excellent vision, but I can use these rail guns to pound those fortresses down. Yeah, I mean, my rocket artillery is really helping clear the middle section. I don't think my rocket artillery got the best use, but I didn't know how to use it because if I get too close to the coastline, I know the ships are going to target one of my most expensive units on the field, and if I use the roads, they only have, like, one of them have movement +1. That's nice, but the other one doesn't. So I'm constantly having to move my rocket artillery and trucks. So I got as much use out of them as I could squeeze. Let's fast forward. Yeah, you can see my infantry. I'm going hog wild. I'm not holding back. I'm going to shove everything forward. I'm even using the railguns. I want to break this position as quickly as possible. And I got some excellent, damage in with my scout. I think my scout was invaluable in the first 10 turns over here. So I wiped this out. That happens pretty shortly, I think. Yeah. I take out another anti-aircraft gun, which considerably weakens the position. Some of their vision is slowly getting wiped out. I'm now using my level bombers to just get some suppression. As you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I have like 8 or 9 infantry ready to just overwhelm northern Sevastopol. And I have, probably 6 or 7, maybe 8. I don't know how much artillery, but I have a lot of artillery, and I have 4 level bombers. So as you guys can see, I am going crazy. This turn was key because the AI kept attacking my auxiliary units, and it really unsettled the position for them. I feel like it made it easier for me to collapse the north because the AI just couldn't stop attacking these auxiliary units. Because I think on turn 4, I did a lot of damage on turn 4. Let us fast forward. Yep, so the middle is about to fall apart. And the other great thing about having tanks is that they can kind of speed ahead on open hexes. And they can see if there's anything coming. I wasn't sure if there was a huge counterattacking force down here. And the answer to that is there wasn't, but there was enough to be annoying. now I can kind of assault. I can assault this fortress. I got lucky. I managed to kill it with the pioneers. So that was huge because all the vision is starting to disappear. I think I wiped all of these units out and this one this turn, and that just, these are conscripts, right? So their vision is not great. The entire, like, seriously, the entire front line here is under really serious pressure. And I've got all of these units that are just moving up very aggressively. Yeah, there was a lot of AA guns. There was probably at least 10. Maybe there was a dozen AA guns. That was wild. Like, every time I thought I was really doing a good job with the AA guns, more of them showed up. So this was like, I'm glad I brought my level bombers because they have higher defense rating than tactical bombers. And it kind of helped preserve their strength longer. But you can see, look at all this artillery. I'm coming. So I'm getting serious now. I want to overwhelm this position so they can't see me. My Panzer IV did a very good job of cleaning up for me. I didn't bring my other Panzer IVs because I didn't expect a lot of armor. I only brought my Panzer IIIs because they were SE units, and the Panzer IIIs did a pretty good job. When they had a chance to shine, I thought they did pretty good. But the reality is my tanks had very limited combat. And I think there was very few opportunities to use them. So I'm happy that I didn't even bring Kesha. I didn't even bring my 4-spotting tank because I thought more infantry had to be better than tanks. And I think I was right about that. And the only reason I brought my Panzer IV over here was there were some tanks over here and I wanted my Panzer IV to take it out. And then later on, my Panzer IV cleaned up for me, which was really nice. But look at this. I'm already assaulting this objective. Ola Deer went in there, wrecked this artillery piece. So already this position is under serious pressure on turn 4. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Let's fast forward a bit. Let's fast forward a bit. Oh yeah, there was on turn 4 there was an ambush. This infantry saw my Stug, but didn't see the tank, so I got an ambush and then finished up the recon on turn 5. That was good. Then I wiped this out. So this whole So this whole position in the middle is very compromised. And I have, as you can see, I have like a lot of infantry ready to go. Oh, and this flank is exposed as well. And that's all happening by turn 5. So this was a pretty efficient approach, I think. And I got lucky with Rudel here, and I took out another AA gun, which of course opens up this sector to more air attacks. And of course, this artillery piece is really exposed. Yeah, this is really devastating. Like, I'm just overwhelming the entire front. Let's fast forward. Oh, I didn't realize there was the fortress down here, so my unfortunately my scouting unit was found, so this artillery piece took a pot shot at it. My Krotchitsen did not have a good day because it survived, but it took a lot of damage. Here was not an ambush, but that this mountain unit didn't know there was artillery here. So that was a good outcome for me. Yeah, and then I'm discovering there's nothing out here, so now I can start outflanking Sevastopol in the south. Because a lot of those hexes were actually empty. It took a while to get it set up, but I think it was the right decision. Because there's only so many hexes for my units to move in the north, but the south is wide open for occupation, so... But look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 infantry units ready to pound the north on turn 6. And the artillery and anti-air is going down really quickly. And I have Rudel available if necessary, because there's no anti-air in this region. So I thought that this was going really well. Let's fast forward. Yep, I'm now taking out this anti-tank. I think I even take out this infantry unit. So this artillery is exposed. That's actually what happened, I think. Because I had this infantry unit here. So I moved a tank up, and then I suppressed this unit with a level bomber. Because you see this unit hasn't moved yet, so I do something really nasty. Yeah, the way south is clearly open. There's a reason, there you can see why I brought all of my mobile units south, because I can use the road to outflank. So that was good. That was really good. Oh, I found another, I found this anti-aircraft gun, and I'm like, oh, I gotta take it out. And I was aware of that one, but this auxiliary level bomber was bait to distract it, which worked. Here it comes. I level bomb this. This is suppressed. So then I attack this infantry, which is not dug in. It has 0 entrenchment. I kill it. So then my 12 strength regular infantry parks up here in the trenches. I'm doing that to guard my level bombers. Here it comes. Then I whack on turn 6 this artillery piece. So suddenly this entire position is compromised because the artillery, the suppression is limited because this guy will hit me, but this guy is probably going to reinforce because it's not very strong. And I'm in the trenches, so I don't know if I'm even going to be attacked, but I'm gambling that I'll survive. And also the Crotchetson is like really good bait. Like the enemy wants to attack it because it's an expensive unit. So I kind of like sacrifice my Crotchetson to distract from vulnerable infantry without artillery support here. So it's a little expensive what I did, but it's helping me collapse this little pocket here very quickly. I didn't realize there was more of an air force, but I got lucky. Thank God that it went after my Stug and not the very easy to see truck right here. So this AA gun went for that level bomber. This, this was the danger. I left the Crotchetson kind of exposed. So if this tank came out, he would die, but I don't know. I didn't see this tank come out in the other playthroughs, so I'm assuming it's in set hold position. And I got really lucky here because this anti-tank didn't damage me. And then I pulled out so nothing could touch him, so it was good. Yeah, look at this. There's still like 3 anti-aircraft guns, and there's 5 artillery plus the fortress. Sevastopol is you are not meant to do that scenario without suffering a lot, is the only conclusion I can draw. This was a trap there. The mountain unit can see my tank, but not the artillery, which is rocket artillery. So yeah, my little mobile anti-air was definitely getting opportunities to shine. What else is happening here? I'm about to overwhelm the sector, actually, on turn 7. This artillery piece is gone. So let me fast forward a bit. So, the only thing standing between me and just overwhelming the north is a wall of infantry. But I think, actually, this is pioneers, guards, conscripts, and I think those are guards. Maybe they're conscripts. But I have so much artillery that I think that I'm just going to overwhelm this sector this turn. And I'm about to basically finish off what's left of the middle on turn 7. That's pretty good. Let's fast forward a bit. Yeah, look at this. The pioneers over here got wiped out. I got a really weak infantry left here. And now this infantry's taking a beating. And I have so much infantry that I'm sending wave after wave of infantry in. Which is the only plan I had. I didn't know how else to tackle this map. If there's a better way, maybe Bricata will find it, but I just... I basically was like, I'm going to just send in all my infantry at once and mercilessly assault all the locations. The artillery is starting to run out. They have the fortresses, but I'm already starting to damage the fortresses, so some of the effectiveness of the fortresses is disappearing. I'm also level bombing the boats. Let's see. Anything to report? Yeah, you can see these 2 infantry are about to go down. This is the last unit left in the middle, so I'm not particularly worried about that. Let's fast forward. So with the anti-aircraft stuff starting to disappear, I can more comfortably target these boats here. Also, keep in mind, I'm not doing as much damage as Idleclease or Bricata will do, because Deducter took away the naval attack on the level bombers. He buffed the naval attack on tactical bombers, because apparently, historically, they were better at destroying ships. So it takes me forever to wipe these ships out, but I do eventually take them out. But not before they did a fair amount of damage, unfortunately. And I only have Rudel as a tactical bomber, and he was already damaged, so I didn't want to use him. So, oh yeah, this tank did activate, but apparently didn't do much damage. Because we're in the city, that's why. Yeah, look at this. This entire front line, it's basically broken. And I've got these 2 railguns that are going to wail away on these fortresses. Let's fast forward. Oh yeah. See these tanks, if you keep the tanks on the outside, they actually can do a lot of damage. But I'm quickly running out of opportunities to use them, because I don't want to go too deep in the city with them. So already, this sector is about to be overwhelmed, and I'm setting up an assault down here. So things are lining up fairly well. I've taken some pot shots from anti-air. These 2 ships are way less dangerous now. Look at my scout. My scout shows up and takes out that 1 strength infantry. This is how you use scouts. They are designed to clean up when you don't finish something. And then I got a really weak hit from my railgun. That was not good, because now all of these units are in range. I think it's going to attack my pioneers, though, so it's less risky than it looks. Let's fast forward. Oh, I had saw that this was still here, and I had a rocket artillery with a vision range, so I parked my mobile anti-air by it, and that mobile anti-air wrecked the the fighter. In fact, I think it took out 13 of the 15 strength points in 2 shots, and that was enough to make it go to 3 stars because I think that was a 2-star fighter. So my AA gun was amazing in the first of the first 8 turns of the scenario. I can't complain about that. Yeah, this mountain unit. I don't know. I think this mountain unit attacked my tank, and I thought that was a little weird. And it actually made my life easier in the south because now that the mountain unit was in the open, so my tanks could just kill it. So I couldn't complain about that. Let's see what else is happening here. I'm taking pot shots at the boats. Let's fast forward. Look, I'm trying to take out these anti-air guns. Rudel is suffering. He's at 7 strength. You think that you're making progress, and there's more of them. That's what was going on there. I'm almost halfway through, and more units are funneling up here, but I've got overwhelming firepower concentrated in this area, so let's fast forward. Once again, my scout shows up and delivers another big hit. I really like my scout. I think if you use scouts well, they're devastating. That's something I didn't appreciate until I watched Idle Cleese play, and he has some of the best scout action I've ever seen. So I try to model the way I use scouts off of a hybrid of what he does and then what I do, which is use them for scouting in a very safe way. But I also want them to have some combat to clean up. Yeah, this artillery, this anti-aircraft, it doesn't stop. There's all this crap. As you can see, I'm about halfway through, and I'm about to break through into the north here and link up with these guys. But these are weaker, so they're not as devastating as artillery units. Um, I think pretty soon I was running into the frustration that it seemed like ammo was getting scarce. It just felt like I could attack, and then I had to get ammo, and then I could attack, and it was really slowing me down. But you can see on turn 10, I'm about to overwhelm this position. I think I take this fortress out this turn, which is very helpful because it's giving perfect vision to the enemy. Yeah, my tank showed up and took out the fortress. Once again, my tanks had these opportune moments to do key damage. Um, yeah, I'm looking at this. There's 2 more fortresses. I see more artillery. It just doesn't stop. There's so much artillery on this map. Um, let's fast forward. Yeah, and again, the units are kind of moving north, but that's just helping me because now my units can attack. Oh, I wiped out this artillery piece, so now this sector is pretty safe. I think both of these boats have been destroyed at this point. I have no auxiliary pioneers left. They had all died, basically getting destroyed by these fortresses, and that bought me enough time to kind of close in. I'm starting to make a probe in the southern sector, but of course there's artillery everywhere, so it's really difficult. Let's fast forward. I'm having a hard time taking this artillery piece out, And this one was really annoying. It did a lot of damage to my artillery. And I have 2 boats. I haven't even really touched these boats because I'm trying to overwhelm the north still. Look at this. There's 4 artillery pieces right here. And there's a scout that can see 4, which is really annoying. And I'm still trying to take this fortress out on turn 12. And I need to take this one out too. So let's fast forward. So I'm closing in. I'm finally trying to make some progress. But it's annoying because there's 2 boats that act as artillery as well. I didn't know how to do this because I felt like I needed my level bombers up north. So they weren't attacking the boats in the south, but I also didn't know where the boats in the south were. It was just a catch-22. So I think that no matter what I did, I was going to take damage. It was just a question of where and when. You can see my rocket artillery is taking a hit. Let's fast forward. Yeah, I'm trying to take this stupid fort out. It's really funny how hard it was to take out. And actually, once again, my scout helped me out. It's just really funny. The scout was amazing. I had some bad shots from a railgun, which kind of set up this disastrous situation. Yeah, and I see there's like another anti-aircraft gun. I'm pretty sick of seeing those because I destroyed a whole bunch. Let's fast forward. Yeah, turn 13. So there's 1 anti-aircraft gun left, way back here. Good luck getting to it. But, I mean, on turn 13, I'm breaking through in the north here. But it gets really hard. I'm running out of ammo. I don't have any auxiliary units to sacrifice anymore. My railgun units are constantly low on ammo. My units are damaged enough that their effective fighting force is limited, but they're not so damaged that I want to give them regular replacements. So I kind of grind my way to victory, but it felt dissatisfying a little bit. Mostly, I made some bad tactical decisions that would have probably saved me some prestige if I hadn't made those. I'm happy with the way I got here, but this is the point where, because the scout was here, it was really giving too much vision to the enemy, and the enemy kept damaging my rocket artillery. And my rocket artillery was supposed to be used to break this sector, but they were made really weak, and it was becoming a problem. And they were running out of ammo, and it was just unpleasant. My level bombers were damaged substantially, so their effectiveness as level bombers was reduced. Rudel was badly damaged, so his effectiveness was reduced. So my artillery and my air force was pretty wiped, by the end. So they couldn't do as much damage as I normally would expect. Then I made a tactical mistake. I forgot to suppress this artillery by 1 more. Or maybe it was the scout car, and then I attacked with my pioneers, and I didn't force a surrender, and that was a huge mess. That cost me probably like 100 prestige, because these guys keep attacking me. However, I still have my auxiliary level bomber, so the AA gun is going to constantly attack it. So that was still helpful to preserve some attack power on my other level bombers. And of course, there's more artillery, over-strengthened artillery. This situation was a huge mess. I mean, I have a lot of artillery, but I'm running out of ammo. And I'm running out of turn. So trying to grind your way here is extremely annoying. I did okay, but I made a couple of bad tactical decisions on turn 13 and 14. So I couldn't wipe the map because of that. But I got the decisive, so that's what matters. Like, I didn't even get a surrender on this. It was just this scout car was like Superman. Trying to damage it was really hard, and I don't know why. And I'm also running out of spots to put my infantry. That was a problem. Let's fast forward. These ships are finally really losing their effectiveness, but my level bombers were sucking and not damaging them. And now I think reinforcements get bought. Let us fast forward. Yeah, so now the AA gun is wiped out. Even though I think that was not a good use of this railgun. I should have used it on this infantry. I was tired at this point, and I don't think I was making rational decisions, is all I can say about it. Finally, I'm breaking through in the south, but it's a hell of a grind. These are guards, I think, and they're experienced guards. And man, digging them out was crazy hard. I felt like I had two separate fronts, despite the fact that I was unified, because the problems I was facing here were not the problems I was facing up north. I had basically artillery, anti-aircraft, and tanks, and a scout car, and that was causing me the most headache. And down here, it was just an endless supply of guards that were dug in at the maximum, plus these annoying little capital ships. But I eventually ground them down, but it was exhausting. So we fast forward to turn 16. I still haven't even seized this objective. I feel like if I get to the port, I accomplished something. I accidentally didn't leave an escape hatch for my tank. That was extremely dangerous here. But I had backing artillery, so... My Panzer IV held against this. This guy was almost out of ammo, so now it was easy targeting. But you could see, man, I have 3 objectives to take, and it's turn 17. And the AI had bought, like, an AA gun as well. This grind was brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. And then I got unlucky and I didn't kill this tank. So now there was a hex I couldn't occupy with my infantry. So we can fast forward. So they bought a tank here. Yeah, I mean, look at this. I haven't even seized this port on turn 17. I mean, most of the dangerous units are gone, but there's a lot. There's all these like guards here. Let's fast forward. My rocket artillery was weaker than I had planned. That wasn't good. Let's fast forward. I think the I didn't close in on the city, so the AI was able to buy 3 units. But I didn't want to close in on the city because I thought these units would attack my unit and wipe it out. So I was left with this huge mess to deal with. And Rudel paid the price for that because I had to keep using him to bomb things. And I'm running out of ammo. I at least forced a surrender here, so... Yeah, there's a lot of junk I have to clean up. Let's fast forward. Let's see. Yeah, we're on turn 19. So I need to take out this anti-aircraft gun so I could bomb. I didn't know if I could take this objective, but I wanted to at least level bomb it. Yeah, and Rudel got hit by this AA gun. That wasn't good. Let's fast forward. So then I had to... It took I'm on turn 20, and I think I had to use every last available, or almost every last available shot to dig this guy out so I could force a surrender. And both of my stugs were part of that. I had to shove my stugs forward to attack this. Plus, I had this annoying. Oh, I had to suppress this artillery piece as well. I forgot to suppress the artillery, so I took unnecessary damage here. But yeah, you can see my infantry units are exhausted. Um, Look at the damage. The damage is pretty massive. Oladir is at 3 strength. But I didn't have to use regular replacements, so that's like a victory, I think. So at the end, I forced the surrender. Or no, I killed it, and then I could occupy this. But I was unable to take this city. I ran out of artillery, so there's that. I haven't. When I do Vrozna, I'll calculate whether or not I actually lost core value. It's going to be difficult to tell. There's some upgrades that are available at Vrozna, and I mean, obviously, look at my infantry: 7, 7, 8, 8, 5, 8, 5, 8, 3, 4. My infantry fought the heroic fight, and it's at like 50% strength. That sounds very realistic. My tanks, my Panzer IV did a good job. I'm not too bothered by the damage there. Two of it was probably unnecessary, but my Panzer IIIs and Panzer IVs, given that this isn't their fight, I feel like they did really well. My Air Force, if we look, 5, 8. I'm sure the other one's 8 or something. I got 2 badly banged up fighters and 1 chip shot on a fighter, but given how much anti-air stuff there was, I feel like my Air Force did as well as could be expected. I also have some badly damaged artillery. This is like, I took a lot of damage, but I've never seen anyone play this scenario and not take a lot of damage. I'm just proud that I was able to not lose a unit, and I didn't have to use regular replacements in battle or elite replacements. So I think that my plan of over strengthening cheap infantry and going hog wild with all of my infantry worked really well. And that's what I have to say about this battle. And then hopefully this weekend I'll do Vrozna. So that will be interesting. Richard out.